Okay, we are live. Hey guys, got some interesting stuff to talk about. Why presentations don't work. And I'll get into this because this just came up today with one of my mentoring students. He gives these brilliant presentations. He really knows his stuff, okay? And then he said, Claude, my biggest challenge, my biggest problem is I'm getting a lot of, you know what I'm going to say next. Think about it. Call me in a couple of weeks. All the stalls and objections. And I try to really drill into people. And I have a little outline here, which you guys can have, by the way. You see my phone number here, or Claude, go to my webpage and ask me for my notes. I'll be glad to send them to you. As I want to see you guys make money. Why are we in business? To make money today. But presentations don't really work. And I'm trying to find this sheet. There it is. Yay. Um, Most people, I believe, give premature presentations. Okay. They finally get in front of a prospect. Okay. I know you've done all your work with your VAs and your integration managers. I love that term. And your AI, and I use AI, by the way, and all your stuff. But bottom line, for most of you in sales, for you solopreneurs who are coaches, consultants, real estate investors, what do you really want? Bottom line, you want to talk to somebody and make a sale. You want to go to the bank, don't you? We all want to go to the bank. But the thing about it is, when you do get in front of a prospect, many of you are seem to deviate to the presentation immediately. Do you? And I always use the joke. It's based on that old commercial. Do you suffer from premature? Do you suffer from premature presentation? You know what I'm talking about. Okay, this is a family show. Bottom line, presentations, premature presentations are just what they are, premature. You don't know what they're thinking yet. You're playing this mind reader game and you're throwing everything against the wall to see what sticks. And that's not the way to sell. The way to sell gut style is to have a conversation. Duh. Okay, you talk to them, say, hey, why are we talking? What's your biggest challenge today? Tell me how I could help you. And you ask a few questions and you set the agenda. There's three little steps in the gut sales method. Great, untraditional, unorthodox techniques of sales success. Long mnemonic, but it works. It takes guts. And you want to sound completely different. I always say this, Steve Jobs and Apple used to always say, think different. Okay, great minds, successful people think different. They look at things differently. If you're doing the same old, I'm on a roll here. If you're doing the same old tired presentations that your competition is doing, the redundancies, the same things, you're boring people. No one will tell you. Your Uncle Claude will. Okay, they want to know one thing: when it can be delivered. Does it come in orange? How much does it cost? Do you have financing? And you just throw everything out there. They don't want to know the history of your widget. They don't want to know about the square footage and how many bidets are in there. Maybe they will. That comes at the end. There's a very important rule I'm going to teach you, and then I'll go into this outline for you guys. You like this stuff? I hope you like this stuff. Because I think it's so important to work smart, so that you go to the bank. I mean, that's really what it's all about, isn't it? And the thing about it is, there's the $1 million rule. People make immediate business decisions and socially. You can use my system socially. They make decisions emotionally. Here, I always do this little thing here, little hearts. People make decisions emotionally. You want to sell me fast? Okay. If you want to sell me a steak, tell me about how it's grilled and the mushrooms and onions on it and the steam coming off it and the smell. And when you cut a little slice off and it goes in your mouth and you taste the fat and the salt. And that for vegans, my apologies. I eat a lot of vegan meals, okay? But maybe that's a bad analogy to a lot of you. So I apologize in advance. But you get my point. So when you sell and you use the five senses and you offer suggestion to somebody in a romantic, emotional storytelling way, you're winning over that. They're going from a 2 or 3 to an 8, 9, or 10 on the Claude motivation scale. Okay. When you give them facts and figures that they didn't ask for, that they don't really want, you're overreacting to them. Okay, so premature presentations don't work. The presentation comes at the end in the gut sales method after you've qualified them, okay? I definitely qualified. If I go to the freezer and get out my PBR beer, I'm going to tell you guys a lot of truth. Even I screw up sometimes. I need a sip of beer to tell this story. I'll get to it in a minute. It was a hot day here in Pinehurst, North Carolina, one of my new places to live. I love it here. It's the most beautiful community. But oh my God, July in North Carolina. Oh baby. Ay vey, as they say in New York. Man, um, you can get up at 4:30 in the morning and it's 75 degrees here, and your Uncle Claude likes to run and swim and every day. I don't have to sauna anymore. I just got to go outside. But bottom line, let me make a note so I remember. I want to tell you that little story, that boo-boo I made. I made a boo-boo today. Um, in the gut sales method, you first set an agenda. You get permissions. Hey, Mr. or Mrs. Prospect, I'm so glad we're talking, stroke and nurture. Can I ask you a few questions? Then you ask me a few. Maybe we'll figure out some solutions or I'll give you a few ideas. Maybe we'll even do business or not. And if not, no pressure. You can tell me to get lost. You can fire me. Okay. I'm just here to help facilitate. Okay. That's an agenda. And bottom line, if you ever met a salesperson who said, please fire me, please tell me to get lost, nobody does this. I've been teaching this stuff for a long time. Nobody still does it. But so you set up the rules with permissions up front and a little bit of shock. Hey, listen, can I just ask you a few questions? And those questions lead to the second step, the qualification. You need to qualify them for motivation. Do they really need your product or service? Or are they, do they really need it? Are they motivated to do it? Or are they a one or a two or an eight, nine, or 10? Once again, back to that guts barometer. Okay, if they're a one, two, or three, and you can't emotionally get them involved in it, okay, they're stoic, they're an accountant. Okay, I heard you accountants. I love my accountant. I'm just kidding. You know, but I'm stereotyping. But the thing, I have a lot of fun doing these things, and I've even had I love a good cold beer out of the freezer in the summer. Oh, baby, I'm gonna go leave you guys in a second and go get it. I hope I don't lose my Google family rating, but this is for adults, sales adults who want to make a lot of money. Do you want to make a lot of money? You got to sell smart, guys. You can't just give tired presentations all day long. Nobody wants to hear them. Come on, it's insanity. When you do something over and over again and you're not closing in the first phone call. I'll do another video on that. I believe in you can close, qualify, get a follow-up appointment, get a contract, get a sale, get paid today in the first phone call. I'm the only guy who'll say this. And I don't think I'm a pushy guy. I think I'm an honest, straightforward, transparent guy. If I can get somebody emotionally involved enough, I can offer enough suggestions. I use techniques like stroking, nurturing, empathy, reverse psychology, redirection, trigger suggestion words. Imagine for a moment. Things like that are all in my system. Modern psychology that allows you to be a closer. Okay. Because people should work with you. I say it at the end of all my videos. Nobody deserves success more than you good people. I know you deal in good products. You're honest. You're ethical. You'll give fantastic customer service, but your competition's stealing the stuff away from you. Okay. You can run the most successful business in the world. I don't care if you're in real estate, if you're a coach. I have a lot of coaches, by the way, a lot of people in the information, girls too, in the information business. And they work smart. They got away from the tired presentation. Let's go to this outline here a little bit. You want to gain attention and trust. You want to be conversant, $10 word with somebody talking. Hey, why are we talking today? What would you like? You want to qualify them also. You want to qualify them for motivation. You definitely want to qualify them upfront for money. That's the boo-boo I made today. I made a real boo-boo today. Actually, it was the other day. Even mentors make mistakes, but I fix them very fast. Um, you want to make sure it's in the time frame. Do they want it today or 6 years from today? Okay. You don't want to spend hours and hours and time and research and all kinds of things with somebody who's not ready to buy, or they don't have the authority to buy or the character to give a commitment. the person who obfuscates, well, maybe, probably, should, could, and everything. Hey, can't you just say yes? Come on, say yes or say no, but don't give me this maybe, probably, because that means no in my world anyway. I do, I say things like this. I'm not forceful. I don't think I'm abrasive or anything. I'm just direct. Get it from my mom. Thank you, mom. Got my hair from my mom too. Yeah, it all works well. So you want to be conversant, be even funny. If you're a comedian or a class clown like me, why not tell jokes, have fun? Some of the greatest salesmen I've ever met made me laugh, made me literally fall in love with them. I did a video the other day, how to make the prospect fall in love with you. Make the conversation something funny where they talk to each other, they just have a good time. We've lost this art part of sales is being an entertainer. I know all the gurus and they're very serious. You've got to use our scripts and you've got to, set up the relationship a long time. BS. When someone has a pain or a problem, they want it solved quickly. And it's your job to go to the bank today. I think if you can help people and solve their problem and get that commitment, well, I'm just looking around, we're investigating right now. Well, if you found a solution, Mr. and Mrs. Prospect, would you take action now? If it met within your budget and could solve the problem, could double your sales, or remove the pain and problem, you wouldn't take action today, would you? This is part of guts. It's just an honest conversation or dialogue. Nobody wants to see your slides. And I use slides in presentations too because they help my memory and stuff like that when I'm on the stage and I hit all my high points instead of just kind of winging it with you guys. You're talking at a presentation. I had a guy last week. Oh my God, the world's worst salesman. I said hello, and that was the last word I got in for 10 minutes. He didn't want to include me in the conversation. We have a rule in Guts. It's called the 75-25 rule. Who should be talking the most? The prospect. I even wrote a book on this. In turning how do you make the prospect into the salesperson? They'll do all the work. They'll tell you everything you want to know. They'll tell you how to close them. They'll qualify themselves for money and everything. Real trust comes from conversation, not PowerPoint slides, not long lectures. Okay. If I meet another salesperson where I say hello, oh, let me tell you all about the history of the lima bean. I don't want to hear all that. I don't have the time for it. And, truth be told, I'm not the most patient person in the world. I want the answer. I'm the easiest guy in the world to sell. If you've watched any of I say this all the time. Say I should get a tattoo on my forehead that says schmuck. Okay. God, I saw a guy the other day. What's with these face tattoos? I mean, his whole face had tattoos. He had a nose ring. He had a purple streak. This guy was a disaster, and he wasn't a teenager or anything. He was in his 30s, and I just looked at him and I said, "Oh man, you're not going to work the front desk at the Hilton, I don't think." But I digress. I'm famous. And notice G.U.T.S. guts, by the way. And you can have this, by the way, just send me a text or something, or mentor@mac.com, and I'll send you this, all my notes on it in a PDF form. No price. It's a gift to you guys. I want you to sell and go to the bank, guys. That's all I want to see from you. Uncover deep emotional triggers. When you're talking to somebody, you're asking questions, you're uncovering a lot of, what it is. You want to discover, you want to learn things. Presentations are just a lecture. They're too long. Okay, get to the damn point. You're probably saying that about me right now. Claude, get to the point already. Learn how to converse with people. Use a simple system: agenda, qualification, close, or commitment to close, with all the little baby steps. It works so well. I've been doing this stuff for a long time. Man, it's given my family such a wonderful lifestyle. Okay, no employees, no office. I just talk to people and I have these conversations, and we've lost this skill. We think we can scale and automate and delegate everything in the world, when in the end, you have to this is going to hurt. Don't get mad. Promise you won't get mad at me, okay? You you basically have to take responsibility for your business, for your success, for your bank account. When you speak to people, and I know some of us, I'm a recovering shy guy. I call it myself a recovering introvert, okay? I wasn't a big mouth all the time. I had to learn how to be this crazy. But I love talking to people. I really enjoy it. Can I start a conversation with people? I even practice sometimes. I've told you this when I go shopping and stuff. People buy emotionally, not because your chart had a bullet point in it and stuff like that. Yes, you get a certain amount of authority when you have your charts and things like. Do you ever get a speaker and you say, "What the F is he talking about? I don't have a clue. I just want to know, does it come in green?" Or something like that. Transform hesitations into commitments. This comes through conversation. You're pitching, not diagnosing. What you want to do is diagnose them like a doctor through the conversation, not the presentation. The presentation is a lecture. It doesn't usually involve, they might ask one. I had a guy the other day. What did he say? Um, he said, Claude, hi, how are you today? And I started to tell him. And I made up a lot. I'm a character, okay? I said, well, I had to take my three-legged chihuahua to the veterinarian. I had a flat tire. I bought a Mr. Freeze from at the Dairy Queen and it spilled between my legs. And, and he was like, he didn't know how to handle me. And usually they talk over you when they say, how are you? But they don't really want an answer. You've met this person. I'm sure you have. The real sales happens in, this is a good one. Let me highlight this one. The real sale happens in the dialogue, not in the demo, okay? In the conversation. Gee, what's the goal? What's the challenge? What's your biggest, what would you like to see happen? How many deals would you like to do? Would you like to buy a house today if it met? Would you buy a house today if you could get it under an option for something that fit in your budget and you knew you would double your money over the next 36 months? I don't know if that's of interest to you. Boom. You ask questions. Always turn a question into a question. That's another. Oh, yeah, that's a one. That's a, I'm going to do that. I do Monday group training and and I just made myself a note here. I always have my little notebook and thing here. When you get an idea, write them down, guys. Keep that notebook, keep those little post-its all over, the stickies all over the place. Get an idea, write it down. Could be the $1 million idea, and you don't want to lose it. Absolutely. You want to be an intuitive salesperson. I just spoke about that on Monday, and go with your gut sometimes. You got somebody has a problem. You had a good conversation with them. And I always say, can I make and I'm always wondering, devil and angel on the shoulder, should I be, the angel goes, don't be too pushy, Claude. You can set up another appointment, you can follow up. And the devil's in me in a little pitchfork saying, go for it. Go for it. Don't be a weenie. Don't be a wimp. Go for it. Intuitive people don't need formal presentations, okay? People want to have a good old-fashioned conversation if it's pertinent to what they're really looking for in your product or service. Okay, direct the conversation to their needs. Be the doctor who says, hi, how are you feeling? Is something bothering you? Does it hurt? Okay, boom. Let's take a look at you. Let me do a few tests and things like that so I can fix you properly. Doesn't give you the history, doesn't tell you we're having a special on arthroscopic surgery or something like that. Simple solutions work well. Very simple. Keep it simple. Not sales theater. I'm going to change that. I think you need to be a little bit of a thespian. I'm going to change that. Okay. When I say a thespian, I mean a little bit of an actor, not to be disingenuous. To all things to thine own self be true. I think that's Hamlet. You want to make other people comfortable. In order to do that, you have to create an environment. And you create that environment by stroking, nurturing, empathy, stories, talking to them. Presentations sometimes feel rehearsed, they're rigid, they're robotic. You want to just fly by the seat of your pants. And I know what a lot of you say, oh, Claude, that's easy for you to say you've done. No, man, you learn by practicing. Get yourself a coach, get yourself someone. If you got a coach already, make sure that coach, mentor, whatever you want to call it, that assistant to the coach, make sure they role play with you. Give you the solutions. Practice makes perfect. You've heard that before. I said it just now. You can be great in sales if you practice enough. And if you have a lot, if you understand the logic, the things I teach, well, I want to think about it. Well, you're not allowed to think about it. Why do I do that? Okay. To be cute, to be funny, sometimes, but basically, I do it to keep attention going, to keep the emotions high, even if the emotions get negative sometimes. Sometimes the prospect goes to me, negatively, or they attack sometimes. And I'll say, you brought up, if it's justified, I say, hey, you brought up a good point. You're right. Maybe I should, you know what? I was wrong. You're right. But it's interesting. Why is that so important to you? You seem like you're getting upset. Tell me why. Boom. Always turn it around on them. And you get so good at this and you get so confident that you close more sales and make a lot more money. This is my kind of gut selling. Is it aggressive? Yes. Is it assertive? Yes. Is it bullying and intimidation? No. It's a different way of looking at yourself and how you feel about yourself. So you want to basically stop giving premature presentations. You get talking with the prospect, you ask the questions, you get qualification, and then basically, when you get a commitment, yes, that when you say to them in a hypothetical, hey, imagine we could do this and fix this problem and it works within your budget. How would you feel about that? What should we do next? And if you get a commitment, okay, up the yes ladder, we call it. If you can get that, then you go to that next step. You go to that next step. Let me get out of this thing and just talk to you straight up here. You basically then go to the close. And the close is when you give the presentation. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Prospect, you know what? So glad we're going to be working together and we'll work out the money and the finance. And here's what you're going to get for your commitment today for the contract I'm going to send you. By the way, could you do me a favor? Could you get me that contract back by end of business today? Could you do me that small favor? That's called reciprocity, by the way. That's a technique you need to use. Also the cigarette close. I've talked about this to a lot of people. When you make a sale, and it's that little moment with the honeymoon moment, here, let me do that little honeymoon moment that we all have in sales. That's when you say, hey, you know what? I'm so glad we're doing business. This is our first or second phone call or meeting. And we had I think we're a real good fit. I can't tell you how much I've enjoyed this conversation and I'm looking forward to working with you. But um, we did this so fast. Are you comfortable with this commitment? You're not going to call me tomorrow and say you had to change your mind or, your cat's not talking to you anymore or something like that. Are you okay? Because you strike me as someone who keeps their word. So if you're going to say no or fire me, why don't we do it? If you're going to fire me, why don't you tell me to get lost right now? I'll rip up the paperwork. There's nothing to worry about. Oh, okay. And that's a dangerous move. That's why it's called guts for a reason, believe it or not. And that's kind of what you want to do in sales. Don't give a premature presentations at the end, conversation at the beginning, setting an agenda, qualification, second step up the ladder, and then commitment to close, where you then give the presentation for the final close. It's not that hard, takes a little bit of practice. You go to the bank so often because you're selling so different from your competition. Absolutely. So this was a lot of fun. Thanks for joining me. I really I saw. Oh, I was going to tell you a little story real quick without my PBR. It's in the freezer. It was hot here. Uh, I talked with somebody. They were so enthusiastic. They were what we call a lay down or a fall down prospect. Okay. I mean, it was perfect. And my $1 million rule, people make decisions emotionally. So we try to get the prospect emotional. This guy came to me. He was emotional. I need help. This is great. I love your videos, Claude. I've been watching you forever and everything. And I got emotionally involved. And when you get emotionally involved, guess what shuts off? There's a little on off switch back here somewhere. And I didn't qualify. See, I make mistakes too, and I'm willing to talk about it. Okay. And I got so emotionally involved with this prospect that I didn't qualify him for, guess what? Yeah. Okay, and I found out about 38 minutes later he has no money. Mr. Mentor here, he has no money. Okay, so it was pretty much a waste of time. Okay, but I learn about it. I do a diagnostic on myself, and I say, Claude, next time, always qualify in the beginning. I even done videos. I teach this, and I screwed up because sales is so spontaneous. It is so dangerous. Sales is dangerous. I say this all the time. You're dealing with different people, different personalities, different cultures. I have clients all over the world with different attitudes and cultures and things like that. And you have to adapt and think on your feet and you sometimes use Google Translate and all kinds of things. And you forget sometimes the most important thing that you want to work smart on the way to the bank. You guys are great. This went way longer than I planned. You have stay cool, stay safe, stay healthy, and give good phone on the way to the bank. Nobody deserves success more than you folks. My name is Claude Diamond. I am easy to find. I have such a good-looking, intelligent audience. Yes, that was a super stroke. Okay, but the bottom line is learn how to sell. You're wasting too much time on the marketing, you're spending way too much money, guys. You've heard my videos. Oh my gosh. You could be the smartest person in the room on your product or service. You could have the greatest videos, but can you convert a person in one phone call? Okay. Are you getting those I'll think about it or all that time wasting stuff? Why are you in business? You're in business to put food on your table, to live life in this great country, okay, to enjoy life. And guess what? When you get money out of the way of your life, the quality of your life is so superb when you get the money thing out of the way. It's called freedom, okay? And I'm not a materialistic person. A lot of people, but I do like security. I like being debt free. I like living where I want to live. I love doing what I want to do, and that's helping you folks give good phone and go to the bank. My name's Claude Diamond, and nobody deserves success more than you. Thanks for joining me again. Bye bye.